欢迎收看今天的汉天新闻，我是赵子彤，在这里祝大家圣诞快乐。首先，我们一起来看一下国际方面的消息。自从今年的2月以来，美国与朝鲜的核谈判一直陷入停顿。当时，朝鲜希望在放弃任何核能力之前，美国先放松制裁，而美国到目前为止拒绝走这条道路。上个月，朝鲜进行了2019年的第4次发射，并警告说，朝鲜可能很快在日本附近发射一枚真正的弹道导弹，作为给美国的圣诞礼物。专家目前分析，朝鲜眼下真正实施这一行动的概率并不高，并且美国总统川普周二发言表示，美国已经准备好应对朝鲜威胁要送给美国任何的圣诞礼物。
No Christmas present from North Korea to the United States as of yet, but it was what was promised by Pyongyang if the United States didn't change its attitude. But certainly officials here in South Korea and also in the United States will be watching closely to see if anything happens. Now, we do know that recent satellite imagery has shown that there has been increased activity at 2 of the main sites in North Korea. One of those has been linked to ICBM production. These are the intercontinental ballistic missiles, which could potentially hit mainland United States. And these kind of imageries have prompted the Trump administration officials to tell CNN that they believe there could be preparations underway for an engine test or a component of the missile program test of some description. We did hear from one source with who is familiar with North Korean thinking, telling CNN that they believe the chances of an ICBM test or a nuclear test over Christmas time are very low. Also pointing out that Kim Jong-un, the North Korean leader, could well take a wait-and-see approach, given what is happening domestically for the US President Donald Trump, to figure out if he is going to be weakened by what is happening there, and if, of course, he would even be able to adhere and to keep to any deal that he would make with North Korea in the future. Paula Hancock's CNN Seoul.
2019年12月24日的圣诞夜，法国的地标性建筑巴黎圣母院因4月15日发生大火而无法举行圣诞夜弥撒，这是自1803年以来第一次。据了解，巴黎圣母院被火烧后的情况复杂，受损严重。火灾发生7个月后，这座哥特式艺术瑰宝仍然处于绝对紧急状态。法国乃至全世界都对巴黎圣母院的大火感到疼惜。所幸，法国和全世界范围内有很多人慷慨捐款，已经得到和确认的捐款有32万笔，总计9亿2200万欧元。
First caught on social media, the flames quickly took hold. As tourists and Parisians alike looked on aghast and helpless, Notre Dame burned. The more than 850-year-old beams that held up its nave, known as the Forest, went up in smoke. And to the gasps of the onlooking crowd, the cathedral's 19th century spire collapsed. For 9 hours, the fire raged. But by morning, the crowds who gathered to inspect the damage found that much of the edifice still stood, the French president announcing an ambitious timetable for reconstruction.
Nous rebâtirons la cathédrale Notre-Dame.
We will rebuild our Notre Dame Cathedral, even more beautiful, and I want it completed within 5 years. We can do it.
8 months on, that rebuilding work hasn't even begun. It's taken this long just to secure the building, with 3 weeks lost over the summer when fears of lead poisoning led to the closing of the site.
The reconstruction will begin in a year's time, more or less, because the building is still fragile, because of the scaffolding that's weighing on the walls, and so all this means a lot of dexterity, a lot of professional work, but once again we have fantastic teams.
Last week, a giant crane was cemented nearly 7 feet deep to allow a new scaffolding to be built. Only then will the old one be removed, a delicate operation since for now it is what's holding the structure up. From inside the nave, the scale of what's to be done is all the clearer. A nave which will remain silent on Christmas Eve for the first time in 216 years. And for now, there's little hope that Christmas Mass will be celebrated here anytime soon.
It's exceptional. I mean, this hasn't happened for 850 years. such a blaze. The tricky part is how to know how to go as fast as possible without going too fast, indeed, because you really have to make sure that everything will stand and will stand for at least another 850 years.
As for what it will look like, the jury is out. Architects are vying for a chance to redesign the cathedral's spire, and whether or not the future Notre Dame will be very different to the old, it is achieving the 5-year deadline that looks, from here at least, nothing short of a miracle. Melissa Bell, CNN, Paris.
墨西哥当地时间12月20日周五上午，在墨西哥的科斯梅尔湾附近发生了2艘邮轮相撞的事故。事发当时，一艘名叫 Glory 的邮轮在进港的过程中失去控制，撞上了另一艘名叫 Legend 的邮轮。目前，邮轮相撞事故造成1名乘客轻伤。目前，邮轮上的乘客已经被疏散撤离。据目击者称，当时2艘邮轮相撞时发出巨大的响声，2艘邮轮都有不同程度的损伤。
What were you thinking when you saw the ship was coming so close?
I just was in shock. I was like, when it was coming towards us, I was like, there's no way that this boat is going to fit, because there was a Royal Caribbean ship on the other side of us. And I was like, I don't know if it's trying to come in between us or what, but there was no way it was going to fit. And once I saw the boat coming, there was only about half of the boat. And I was like, oh no, like this ship is way too big. And so once it collided, I was just like, oh my gosh, like it just hit us. The ship just hit our ship. And I was just in shock, really, that actually happened.
Well, you were shocked, but I mean, were you frightened at all? I was a little scared because, I mean, you hear about, the Titanic and me being a little jumpy. It was our first cruise, so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for our family, this was our Christmas cruise. And, so I had been on 7 cruises, but for the rest of them, it was first-time cruisers. And so, we have had quite a windy and stormy, ride the past 5 days. And so they would ask me, is this normal? Are the waves normal? And I'd say, yeah, this is normal. But I didn't think that we'd have to explain that the big hit from another boat in the port was not normal for their first time on a cruise.
Yeah, so Maddie, that was you just speaking now. And you said you spoke with passengers on the Carnival Glory, the ship that hit yours, and they were shaking and screaming. What'd they say?
Yeah, a lot of the screaming was coming from actually the Carnival, the Royal Caribbean cruise that was to the right of us, as you can see in the video. I think they tried to kind of steer out of the way of us, the Glory did, and went right towards the Royal Caribbean. Oof. And that was the screams of them thinking that their ship was about to get hit, which luckily they just nearly missed it. But when we talked to the Carnival Glory passengers, we actually talked to people who were in the dining room, which was what was hit. The bow of our ship went straight through the dining room, and they said it was mass chaos. And even some of the workers in the dining room were running, over people trying to get out because no one had seen anything like this happen before.
So, McKenna, you saw the back end of that ship. It was crushed. Were you worried that more people may have been injured?
Yeah. Yeah, I think after the initial shock of it all happened, I just thought about, oh my gosh, I really hope that people are okay, because it was just straight windows. So I'm like, that's where I didn't know at the time it was the dining room. So I'm like, it's windows. That's probably where, people are going to be. And I didn't know exactly where it hit on our boat at the time of seeing it happen. So I just thought, I really hope people are okay from our side and on that side, that no one got seriously hurt, because that would just be terrifying.
Yeah. Maddie, after this happened, all the passengers were advised to go enjoy the day in Cozumel. Were you actually able to do that?
Yeah. Once we got off and there was that initial shock of the ambulances coming through, and they pulled the boat right next to us, so we were able to see up close all of the metal and glass still coming off the ship. Once we kind of got past that, like I said, it's our family vacation, so we went and had fun. We have a little 1.5-year-old niece, Sophie, who came with us, and we wanted to make sure she still enjoyed her day, and so we took her out. And in our family, when we have tough or hard things, we always like to do it with humor, and so we said when we get home we're going to make some t-shirts that said we survived the shipwreck of 2019. So
yeah, well, and at the end of 2019. So I think you one of you said you've been on a lot of one of you said you've been on a lot of cruises. I'm not sure if both of you have been, but would you do it again after this?
Yeah, this is my 7th cruise, and I actually have my honeymoon booked in March to go on another cruise. So whether or not I want to, which I still will, I am booked and ready for another cruise.
I plan on it too.
All right. Well, good luck to both of you, and happy cruising and happy holidays, happy New Year to you. Be safe.
Thank you too.
澳大利亚不断蔓延的山火造成了死亡人数还在不断攀升，数字变得越来越惊人。据统计，现在在澳大利亚国内正在燃烧的野火至少有100多起，多地产生创纪录的高温。日前，记者去往了澳大利亚一个叫做巴尔摩尔的小村庄，村里正在处于山火燃烧的路线之上，现在被熊熊火焰侵略后，变成一片地狱般的景象。当地民众面对自己受到了多少损失，又该如何开始新生活，表达了自己的看法。
Balmoral, the little village that stood in the way of a monster, left in smoking ruins. Directly in the path of a ferocious blaze that consumed almost everything in sight. This family had fought off 2 fires before. They stayed, but this time it was very different.
We got hit from the east and west at the same time. That is what made the property indefensible at that point. We had no chance against that.
Others stopped the blaze at their doorstep. He stayed, she took the kids.
I was beside myself the whole time. I was in tears.
This is how Balmoral used to look, lush and green. Now, a very different landscape. It was near here, in the neighbouring township of Buxton, where 2 firefighters died after their truck overturned. The escalating crisis prompting the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, to return from his overseas holiday, today visiting the widows of the 2 men, as he faced a barrage of criticism he'd gone missing during the emergency.
To those Australians who I had caused upset to, and I apologise for that. If you had your time over again and you had the benefit of hindsight, then would have made different decisions. And I accept the criticism. It's time to be kind to each other.
I wouldn't have made the decision that he made to go.
As former PM Tony Abbott donned his firefighting gear, Mr Morrison toured the RFS Operations Centre.
We were just trekking through there a couple of weeks ago.
And met with American and Canadian firefighters helping take the pressure off weary local brigades, then heading to the Picton Evacuation Centre.
Well, a rugged few days.
It's been very rugged, yeah. Very distressing for everybody.
Yes. Many residents are in temporary accommodation, not knowing what the future holds at Christmas time. The PM hearing firsthand the terrible conditions faced by so many.
A lot of fear there. It gets hard. It's a small town out here and we try and stick together.
On the fire front, so many battles, many won, others lost. But it's an emergency with no end in sight. And the fear is, how long can crews keep going?
Fatigue management and the drain, the relentless nature of this season is certainly taking a toll.
Last night the injury list rose. 4 more firefighters suffering smoke inhalation.
We'll need additional ambulances and they've asked for them quickly.
Today the federal and state government announced more money would be poured into the Community Recovery Assistance Program.
Now that joint funding is in excess of $63 million across the state and extends to about a dozen councils.
Some respite at this location at least today where conditions eased, but the toll already is catastrophic.
What we're wearing is what we have.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
Chris Marr, 7 News.
在英国有一项历史悠久的圣诞传统，同事朋友之间会互相秘密赠送礼物，成为彼此的秘密圣诞老人。然而今年，许多英国的工作者把这个传统发展到了帮助陌生人身上。他们组织了一些活动，向食物银行捐献， 帮助那些贫困家庭，希望自己的资金和爱心能够帮助更多需要关怀的人群。
It all started with a letter to Santa from a 7-year-old girl in England who wished for a house, a doll, and something to eat. Her heartbreaking message went viral.
She wasn't asking for much and, a bit of food on the table.
Alex Alder reposted the letter on a social media page for his company, Great Western Railway. His Christmas wish? Instead of Secret Santa or giving gifts to colleagues, he asked rail workers to donate to food banks.
The response has been amazing, overwhelming. What started off as a small thing in one office has now spread across the network.
Now, thousands of workers in 30 depots along these tracks have donated to help children facing hunger.
We see that around a third of people referred to food banks are children. So it's a huge number of families and children who are having to live in what we would all consider to be unacceptable destitution and poverty. So it's something which becomes even more clear at Christmas time, because that's really the time that we expect families to be happy, being able to have presents, but often that's exactly the time when families feel the pinch the most.
The Trussell Trust, an organisation that aims to end hunger in the UK, says most people who need food banks survive on an income of just £50, or about $65 a week after paying for housing. The need increases in winter when families struggle to pay higher heating bills and children stop receiving free school lunches over the holidays.
It's so important to be able to give people more than just food. It's really important to be able to give people hope and support during this time and help get them back on their feet.
The organisation recommends calling your local food bank to see what items they need most this Christmas, or donating money to pay for food deliveries and support services.
A mince pie, a bag of fancy flavoured crisps, who knows what, it will make a small difference, and in a way you are still Secret Santa. You just won't know the person who you're giving the food to.
Scott McLean, CNN, London.
休息一下，马上回来。